There Was a Country by Chinua Achebe. Gowon Responds. To get General Gowon's point of view on a number of the same questions that I have raised in this section of this book, I asked the eminent journalist and writer Pini Jason to interview the former Nigerian head of state. A portion of the interview is reproduced here. Pini Jason. The Igbo still believe that they are being punished because of the civil war. The Indigenization Decree is an action, they point out, that was taken when the group was economically weakened and thus, as it were, kept them out of playing a role in the economy. They still feel they are being punished because of the civil war. Gowon. It is a pity that they think this way. The Indigenization Decree, I think it was 1972 or 73, that decree was really to ensure the participation of every part of the country, unlike the privatization policy now in place. Businesses are indigenized within one's own area, in the north, in the east, in the west, etc. And who are the beneficiaries in those areas? It is mostly the people native to the particular area. And I am sure that by 1972, many Igbo had recovered sufficiently enough to participate not only in their own area, but also in Lagos. You tell me, who owns most of Lagos? Pini Jason, cutting in. 2 years with 20 pounds, the Igbos were still trying to find their feet. They were in no position to buy into any company. Gowon. No. Remember, what was being indigenized before it was speeded up were some of the small Lebanese businesses like textile stores, in which in any case the Igbo were very well established yesterday, today, and even tomorrow. Probably in Lagos, they were not able to buy into as many such businesses as they would have desired. Otherwise, certainly I know that by 1972, there was sufficient recovery enabling the Igbo to participate. Now, the incident of 20 pounds that you refer to was enforced immediately at the end of the war, because your economic gurus will tell you that because of your economic value, you cannot exchange the Biafran notes. What is it called? Pini Jason. The Biafran pound. Gowon. Is it the Biafran pound? But now, I am told that it is selling like hotcake. I am told that it is being used especially in the West Coast. So I said, well, you see the ingenuity of the Igbo man. General laughter. People say it is even more valuable than the Naira. Pini Jason. Maybe as a collector's item. Gowon. But there it is. No, I think the policy of 20 pounds was never an attempt to impoverish the Igbo people. The government was very generous in giving funds to Okpabia Sika so that the government of the East could circulate money and get businesses off the ground, as well as to embark on various rehabilitations and reconstructions that were taking place. Probably the exchange rate in Nigerian currency for the Biafran pound seemed not to be on equitable terms. If we said they could exchange at par, Pini Jason cutting in, I would have been a millionaire. Gowon. You are telling me, general laughter, and probably bought off the rest of the country. That was not the policy of indigenization. It was meant to help. For example, the government was able to provide Asika with funds that people could get Nigerian currency even as a loan. It was probably some of the bigger businesses indigenized later that you were talking about, but that occurred only after my overthrow. The government of Obasanjo, I think between 1975 and 79, speeded up taking over some of the big businesses, especially in Lagos, which was to the advantage of his people because they were the ones on the spot, and a lot of their people were in the banks and knew how to use the banks to give loans to their own people to buy some of these things. But this was not the case in other parts of the country. So when it comes to that, you can rest assured that it was not only the Igbo that felt left out. Other parts of the country that were not as well positioned as the people from the West felt the same way. Pini Jason. Another issue was that of abandoned property, especially in Rivers State, and the context in which your government allowed some property belonging to the Igbo to be taken over. The case was made by the new Rivers State government that its people were like tenants in their own state. After you left office, it became clear that several individuals actively exploited the issue, buying up former Igbo-owned property and using these properties as collaterals for business ventures, often obtaining loans from banks controlled by certain people with anti-Igbo sentiments. Many blamed this series of developments around abandoned property on you. What is your reaction?
Gowon, there was no doubt that it was a very naughty issue. I think there should have been justice and fair play. And as far as I was concerned, although pressure was being brought by the governor and the government of Rivers State at the time, my position was, if any property was to be taken for the use of the government, it had to pay proper compensation. And true enough, I think at the time, there were many Igbo who wanted to sell their property. Therefore, there was hardly any problem from that point of view. But I know that later, the Rivers State indigents themselves became fully involved and virtually pressurized the subsequent government. I think honestly that a lot of the damage was done during our time. At least, we were keeping it under control and working hard to ensure that there was justice. Since it was one Nigeria, we must allow people who wanted to come back to at least come back to their business and properties. But I know that quite a lot of this did not happen subsequently, and it left a very bad feeling that, as you said, the Igbo were being penalized because of the war. I am not sure of what really happened at that time, since I was away from the country, but I know that my effort was not to deprive people of their property. Those who wanted to sell did so at the market price at the time, but those properties the government wanted for their use, it was to pay the economic rates at the time. Of course, policies changed thereafter.